What up, though, y'all? It's Chris. Appreciate you connecting with me while I'm on the run, getting things done. I'm having a great day, and I hope that you are as well. Let's get into the topic at hand. I don't want to waste a whole lot of time with this one. It's Dwayne Wade, and this, I guess it's kind of been a long time coming for me to talk about Dwayne Wade and the way he's been moving. And I still was avoiding talking about it, but then I got sent a clip of him on the Today Show. What is it, Jenna and Friends, to be more specific. He was on there, and dude was just sassing it up. It was actually really hard to watch. I mean, we've been seeing the type of stuff that D Wade been on, and when this video was sent to me, I couldn't avoid talking about it anymore, man. D Wade, he was on Jenna and Friends. As you know, it's one of them subsidiary Today shows. And dude came out, he had on, I mean, his clothes that he had on was okay, but his behavior and mannerisms was just way too sassy. Apparently he came out spinning, twirling, as the woman put it. Now, we didn't see that part, but she made sure to mention it. Now, why'd she do that? It's funny because him sitting there seemed like one part her intrigued by him and another part making fun of him. It seemed like it was equal intrigue and just like, bro, really? Because I can't imagine that woman would ever be with a guy that behaves like D Wade. But she made sure to mention for us that he came out twirling, and he was like, oh, basically he was just having fun. It's just kind of how he just blew it off. But then they keep going, and dude is talking about how he was wearing some diamond encrusted get up when he was on Jimmy Fallon's show. We saw that. He was sitting there with his leg crossed. And I mean, that is the correct way that a man is supposed to cross his leg, but he made even that look sassy. Then he starts going into his merce. So they talk about that. He wears a merce. He confirms it, saying, oh, he's been wearing a merce for a long time, carrying a merce for a long time. They go get it. They go and they get it. I can only imagine that this was intentional. They didn't just happen to have it on hand or happen to find it. That was definitely scripted for them to bring that out. He goes in there and he starts pulling out stuff for his chapped lips, the toothpicks, the plastic ones that everybody like, that have the floss on one end and the pick on the other. This is too much, man. It really saddens me that I even got to talk about this, because I was a fan of D Wade. If you were a fan of the Miami Heat in the early 2000s, which, I mean, come on now, all of us were. We were on that bandwagon. D Wade was cold. He was a cold dude, very masculine. Like, he was the embodiment of it. And you just wouldn't have imagined that guy would have become this guy today. You couldn't have. If your future self would have came to you and said, hey, this guy that you watching on TV with all this alpha energy, jumping on the sportscaster table and yelling in the audience and all that, this is my house, that this guy would be one of the sassiest dudes floating around out there, in spite of being married. You wouldn't have believed it. None of us would have. And then the dude, he has a son that wants to be a daughter. I mean, y'all already know how I feel about that sort of stuff. D-Wade out there hooping, so he not at home as much. But still, the other son, the oldest one, he didn't turn out sassy. I think it's because the youngest one was home more. He was younger and home more. Him being younger makes him more moldable. He's got a feminist wife. I don't know if she was really pushing for this, but no correction was ever made, obviously. And how about the fact that D-Wade was sitting up there with his nails painted? I mean, dude had his nails painted. He's sitting up there, all the hand motions, just all the sassy hand motions. The dude waving his hands around. The dude, touching his chest. The way you see, not even really women, but gay men communicate. Because you really don't see women do that much. That's what I've noticed about gay men. Gay men don't really act like women. They act like these caricatures of women. So he doing all of the sassy movements and gestures like how gay men do while having his nails painted. It was just really hard to watch, man. I'm just like, what the hell is going on here? And then he talking about, his wife don't want to do 50-50 anymore, or how that's become a conversation recently. Well, y'all wanted that to become a conversation. You and the missus going above and beyond to be in the media and be as extra as possible. Remember, they moved out of Florida talking about they don't feel safe. They weren't under attack in Florida, but they on some, we don't feel safe. Our family doesn't feel safe. We have to move. Bro, your family was not under attack. People didn't like the way you doing with your son, and your ex-wife was against the way you was doing your son. And people tend to side with the mom on this, not how you was doing. The boy's biological mother, people are like, listen, she don't want you using y'all boy as basically a paycheck. You can lean into all this rainbow stuff using your son. Yeah, you're gonna make this money, but at what cost though? So no, it wasn't that your family was in danger. It's the fact that people just didn't like what you was doing. But nobody did anything to y'all. Your home weren't vandalized, cars weren't vandalized. You never mentioned anything about receiving any threats. And as much as they like attention, if any of that had been the case, they would have thrown that out there, but they didn't. So it's just wild, man. But the mom, his wife, Gabrielle Union, I say the mom because she's been like the parental figure. When I'm referring to the real mom, I'll just say biological mom. But Gabrielle Union, we've seen that she's been one of those rabid, ball-busting feminists, and it just really seemed like ever since D-Wade got caught up cheating back in the day that she just really has had his testicles in a vice, and over time trained him to be the very type of weak man that she could run over. Now suddenly she wants to lean back and let him pay the majority of bills. But we know that that's not because that's really what she wants. We know that's because we haven't been seeing her out there in Hollywood the way she used to be. I mean, she never was like an A-lister, but she did get pretty consistent work. We don't see her out there the way we used to anymore. So, gotta lean on that husband. Gotta lean on that husband a lot. Now suddenly she ready to, I'm in a mental space now where I can do it. Nah. You in a financial space where now you're willing to do it. See, the thing is that women like that, they don't want to let a man pay all of the bills because they feel like that gives the man headship. And these feminists do not like a man being a boss. They do not like a man being the head. But it's really odd because it's no telling what type of conversations they have. Like any sort of disagreement, she probably talked to him wild because she just seemed like that type. When you got one of these strong and independent women that are feminists, have little respect for men, if you're a strong, dominant man, they will constantly test you. they usually train a man into being the very type of man that they have no respect for. Now, she could leave D-Wade, right? But I don't know if she would do that, because why leave if she's getting everything that she wants? But let's talk more about D-Wade more, man. It just... D-Wade has been such a disappointment overall. He's been a disappointment the way he's moved when it's come to his son. He's been a disappointment the way he's played this victim stuff. Talking about, oh, my family's not safe, we had to move. He's just been a disappointment overall. And then, you know, we see certain people don't really mess with him like that no more. You know, he had really close bonds with LeBron, probably still does, but that stuff that he doing don't work for Bron's brand. So we don't really see them out there out and about too much anymore. Chris Paul, what's his name? Carmelo Anthony. These are all guys that he was really close with back in the day. And they probably are still really cool, but for what they doing and what he doing, it's not really any room for them to mesh. The thing is, and you guys have heard me say this before, if you're a masculine guy, you don't typically have zesty friends. And if you do have zesty friends, it calls what's up with you into question. That's just the way it is. And y'all could be like, oh, you should better hang out with your friends, this and that. And, you know, nobody's saying they don't still hang out. They just not out there in public. You know, we seen before. Remember, well, y'all may not remember, because this was during the Miami Heat days. But D-Wade and Bron used to go on vacation with their families. You know, there's pictures of them at the beach with their families. You don't see that stuff with them anymore, and you may not see that stuff with them again, because as I said, Bron's brand is really squeaky clean. He don't really lean into the rainbow stuff. And I think that's because he really not with that. He may not be against it, you know, strongly, because he know his homie dealing with that sort of stuff in his household, but I don't think he really supports it. So, you know, you just not gonna see that stuff tied to his brand. You see nothing like that. And this may be your homie, but he's not gonna jeopardize the image that he's worked so hard to build over the last 2 decades be called into question over something that his boy got going on. But let me know what you guys think, man. This just goes back what Anthony Mackie was saying the other day about the emasculation of the American male. I mean, really, it's getting worse. Perhaps it'll get better, but before, it seems like it's gonna get worse. I'll talk to y'all soon. Peace.